All right, y'all. Welcome in to episode 1 of Mets Get It On. I've been waiting for an opportunity to get a podcast up and running for, got to be something in the neighborhood of 10 years now. Absolutely thrilled. Thank you to the homies for pushing me through for this opportunity. Thank you to guys like John Boy and Talkin' Jake over there who've always inspired me to want to talk Mets with what they do. But let's get right back into the action. So yesterday, there's an announcement. Who's going to be our opening day starter? And of all people, it comes to the former Yankees closer, Clay Holmes. So last year, Clay Holmes, 3-5 with a 3.14 ERA, 68 Ks to 22 walks and 30 saves. So you're thinking, okay, yeah, this guy obviously had a pretty nasty year. Why do Yankees fans seem to absolutely hate this guy? Well, he led all of the MLB last season with 13 blown saves. Second highest blown saves total was 9. So he obviously didn't show up in the big moments like he should have. But I am super, super high on this guy for this season. Nasty slider and sweeper, living around 96 miles an hour with his fastball. He's got this new pitch, the kick change, which should be causing a lot of problems. And for a ground ball pitcher like that, with our infield defense, I think he is going to be pretty nasty for us. As a Mets fan, historically, you know, guys like DeGrom are not our opening day pitchers. We've ended up with guys like a Jose Quintana, with a Tyler McGill. So it just kind of always seems to work out weirdly with our opening day guys. But I am probably more excited to see what Clay Holmes can bring to the rotation this year than just about anybody else in the rotation. Could be an example of a David Stearns masterclass. He tends to scoop these guys up as projects, almost in a cocky way to show the league, I'm one step ahead of you. And, yeah, I'm pretty thrilled to see what Clay Holmes can bring this year with that new pitch, with the infield defense behind him, and with the ability to, grow a beard, be a little bit badass this year and maybe shove it to the guys across town a little bit. So very excited to see what he can bring. Good news coming out of camp as well on, probably my most beloved pitcher in the rotation, who we brought back for 3 years, Sean Manaea, got cleared to throw yesterday. I think he should be back with the squad towards the end of April. Really, really promising development there. Whenever you go a couple of weeks not hearing if a guy's resumed throwing or baseball activities or any of that stuff, you get a little scared that things could get a little bit Metsy, and we're missing a lot of pitchers already. So huge to have him back. Last year he went 12-6 with a 3.47 ERA, threw over 180 innings for the first time in his career. And when he decided to copy that Chris Sale release point and get a little bit funky with his delivery, basically from that point through the end of the season, after he changed that release, he led all starters in MLB in innings pitched with 121, and he had a absolutely freaking disgusting 178 batting average against. So this guy has proven he can be a problem. I'm not expecting necessarily that he's going to be as nasty as that guy that we saw in the second half, that horse that brought us, was kind of our ace, pitching big playoff games. But, if we get him in any semblance looking anything like that, he's going to be a very strong, maybe number 2, low-end number 1 pitching option. So really excited to have him back. As far as what can you expect from the rest of the rotation this season, we've got Kodai Senga. Last year was essentially a wash for him, but a lot of people forget what he did in 2023 with 12-7 record, a sub-3 ERA, 2.98, finished 7th in Cy Young voting. That ghost fork, he's also one of the most lovable pitchers you're going to find in the planet. And now he's got this new pitch that he debuted yesterday in spring training that is being dubbed the Miracle Ball, which is a looping 63-mile-an-hour curveball This guy's just freaking fun to watch, man. Obviously, that pitch, the ghost fork, is one of the most devastating pitches in baseball. It disappears from batters, and I personally love, guys in the stand throwing up the ghost emojis and getting fired up about this guy. I got the ghost T-shirt. But yeah, he pitched 53 pitches yesterday, 4 innings, gave up 2 runs. The key is this guy to be healthy, man. He's potentially the most important player in the entirety of the Mets roster this year for the upside he can bring. You could have an ace right there. The rotation looks totally different if you've got Senga as an ace, if you got Minaya as a 2, and if you've got Clay Holmes as, this kind of jack of all trades, potential absolute sneaky 2 or 3 pitcher. So we will see. Hopefully, knocking on wood for the Angel, the Ghost Fork God, Kodai Senga. Interesting enough, David Peterson, I feel like the entirety of the Mets nation has been sleeping on him. Was a first-round pick out of college. I sure as hell didn't expect him to go 10-3 with a 2.9 last year. And some of the underlying metrics show that he might have gotten a little bit lucky as far as his results last season. But, hey, the guy's pitching lights out again in spring training. Big guy, lefty, powerful pitcher. We don't need him to pitch to 10-3 with a 2.9 this year. We need him to pitch, as a 4 or 5 guy with a very low 4s, high 3s ERA. That's incredibly valuable to have, and that brings a ton of stability to the rotation. As far as a 5th guy, there's a bunch of different options here. You got Frankie Montas. A lot of people are shitting on that signing, saying he got overpaid. Maybe we were a little bit overeager early in the season, but this is the project that Stearns tends to love. He's going to be out until the end of May with a pretty severe lat strain, so we'll see. That could be a trade deadline acquisition. He's obviously got the stuff and has the potential to be nasty. Tyler McGill. I know a lot of folks are tired of hearing that name, but he did pitch incredibly well down the stretch. He was pitching playoff games. He was starting big playoff games for us. Big drip. Tyler, some call him Sylor McGill when he came out guns blazing a few years ago to start the season. But a lot of faith in him. He's my kind of preferred maybe 5 to start the season. You know what you're going to get with him for the most part. Then there's Paul Blackburn. Who the hell knows? He's been injured. He's a little sketchy, but trade deadline acquisition last year, and he's an arm with a heartbeat, and we'll see what we can get from him. And then we have not had a top-shelf pitching prospect in a long damn time, and we've got Brendan Sproat, who's made spring training starts. They just sent him down to AAA to start the year, but he's got that high 90s, 99 to 100 mile an hour fastball. Wears the tight pants, has some moxie, long hair drip. I'm excited as hell about this guy. Him and Christian Scott, if he can get back healthy after the Tommy John surgery, those 2 guys could be fixtures in the rotation and can save a lot of money. We know Stearns likes to spend a little bit more on the lineup than he does with pitching. So, yeah, as far as my projected kind of 5 in a perfect world, once folks are healthy, I think Sean Manaea is the one, maybe in a sentimental perspective, but he just pitched his ass off in the second half. Senga at the 2, Holmes at the 3, Peterson at the 4, and ideally by the end of May, we got Brendan Sproat up pitching and throwing absolute filthy stuff. So I think a lot of folks are looking at the rotation as a weakness. I think it could certainly play out to, be in a top 10, top 8 rotation in the bigs. And with this freaking lineup that we've got, I think that's all you really need as far as a chance to compete for a National League East crown. So going to go through what I think the projected lineup is going to look like for next year. It starts off with my king, my emperor, my light, my love, Francisco Lindor, second in the NL MVP voting last year. What can you say about this guy? I was battling through an injured back, huge playoff dingers. I mean, we absolutely love this guy. Metsland was tough on him to start, and I think he's earned the benefit of the doubt. If he's struggling for the first couple months of the season, give this guy a freaking break. He put the team on his back last year. He was just voted the number one best infielder by the remainder of the MLB players. So very interesting to me. This guy can't even get like a freaking nomination for a Gold Glove or an All-Star spot, and his peers seem to think he's the best fielder, and he was an absolute badass last year. So speaking of badasses, it almost is surreal to say, but we got the $800 million man, Juan Soto. Just a little, speaking as to what this guy is capable of. 2 days ago in Port St. Lucie, a fan in right field is looking over at Juan, heckling him, saying, "You suck, you're overpaid." Juan looks at him, smiles, laughs, steps into the box, hits a frickin' piss missile directly into where this guy is standing in right field. He seems like he's got that next level of talent where he's just capable of doing kind of mythical shit. So people are comparing him to Ted Williams and saying he's one of the top 10 hitters of all time. So it's going to be freaking awesome to watch him this year. It still feels surreal. The Polar Bear, Pete Alonso in the 3-hole for me. Over under 40 homers. What do we think? Is he going to stick around in Queens? I think, the fans feel so strongly about him. It would be pretty tough to see this man leave. So we will see what we get out of him. Over under 40 home runs. Does he stay in New York? I think the likelihood is if he is hitting that many dingers, he is going to stick around. On to Brandon Nimmo. This guy is really slept on. I think he had 90 RBIs last season. Was fighting through some foot issues. He's always fighting through injuries, but this guy's tough and one of the longest tenured Mets that we have at this point. I think it's going to be kind of a make or break season for him if we think that long-term contract, if he's well paid, if he is going to be kind of looked upon as a good value player like he's been for the entirety of his Mets career, or if that contract might not age that well. But I'm staying positive on him. Got him in the cleanup hole, and that is to open up space for a man who shot out of a rocket last year, Mark Vientos. 27 home runs in 111 games. That comes out to 39 and a half home runs over a full 162-game season. Is he going to be able to pop 35 homers, and is this guy just the absolute frickin' truth? Can he stick at third base? Does he need to? Is he the long-term DH? I'm not sure, but I cannot frickin' wait to watch this guy over a full season. Swaggy V, one of my favorites on the squad. And speaking of swag, let's dive over to Jesse Winker. This man is flipping his bat, talking shit to people as he's rounding second base, hitting huge playoff bombs, kind of the heart and soul, like really, really excited that he's back. That being said, last regular season, over the course of the year, he hit .253 with 14 homers and 58 RBIs. Pretty pedestrian stats, but maybe he runs with that playoff momentum, and he clearly wants to be a Met long term, and he said that, and we're just freaking happy to have him back. On the other side of that DH platoon, Starling Marte, can he stay healthy? Can he still run? Can he play in the field? We don't know. The upside's incredible. He can, go on a stretch where he's one of the better hitters on your team, and he can get big hits in playoff games. But is he, going to be healthy? Who knows? We'll jump over to Jose Siri next. This guy is a bit polarizing. He actually hit under 200 last year, but got a hell of a lot of pop in his bat, and he is statistically probably the best defensive center fielder in baseball. So, you're going to ride and die with that guy. I'm going to get back to him in a sec. But Jeff McNeil's going to be he's going to be shelved to start the season. So we are going to be leaning on Brett Beatty from the jump. So we're going to have to see how that goes. He's got incredible upside. He's been a top prospect in baseball, but he has just not been able to play at the major league level. He's kind of a quadruple A player, but could this be his chance to break out? We will see. And then it breaks my damn heart, but Francisco Alvarez is going to be out for 6 to 8 weeks to start the year with a broken hamate bone in his left hand. It sucks. El Troll is one of my favorites, but we've got a really strong, backup catcher in Luis Torrens. Incredible defensive presence. Had some big hits. We all remember the play that he made in the London game last year to beat the Phillies with that throw out at first base with the tag at home. And unbelievable defensive player. So we are just going to have to ride with him to start, and hopefully El Troll comes back and he finally is able to put it together over a course of, at least a somewhat of a full season. So who is this year's Candelito? We lost our king. We lost our OMG man. I'm gonna miss him. I am certainly gonna miss the song, the remix with Pitbull. I play that every day. But I think this year's Candelita is going to be, the spark plug is going to be Jose Siri. My bold prediction is he hits over 225 this year, which that shouldn't be bold, but it is for him. I think he eclipses 25 homers this year, and I think he's playing Gold Glove defense like he always has in center field. He has been on fire in spring training, showing the pop. He's gotten along incredibly well with Juan Soto, and I think that could be a really, really, really shrewd move that Stearns made. So, yeah, last year he batted 187 with 18 homers and an on-base percentage of 255. I think he's going to be kind of a cult hero for Mets fans. You're going to remember what he does. He's going to make some insane plays. He's going to make some boneheaded plays, but I think he's the guy that gets everyone freaking fired up, and I think he's going to be Soto's boy, and I love when Stearns makes these type of high upside moves, so we will see. We will see there. As I mentioned, Jeff McNeil is going to be out on opening day with an oblique injury. Is that second base spot going to go to Brett Beatty? Is it going to go to Luis Angel Acuna? Who's going to snag that? That's a huge spring training storyline. So far, Beatty is kicking ass in spring training, as he always does, and Acuna's struggling a bit. But, we'll have to see. I think Acuna loves the bright lights, and he tends to step up in those big moments. Any other news? AJ Minter, Mets setup man. He's pushing to get back for opening day after left hip surgery. He has been a thorn in our side for years as the Braves reliever. He's nasty, but he's a great guy to have on our team. He's already been talking shit to some Yankees fans, and I'm really stoked to have a strong bullpen this year with Diaz, Minter, Dedniel Nunez, Reed Garrett. The sky's the limit with what this pen can do, and I think really excited to see if Edwin can bounce back. But I want to close this first ever episode. I am a gambling man, and I want to get you guys in on a little segment that I call Knox's Locks. I'm going to take you through 5 picks that I think are, absolute locks. Hammer them in, throw away the key, and just count your cash. As I was talking about before, I think 3.70 is where we have Clay Holmes with a predicted ERA. I think he's under that 3.7 mark, and I think 110 innings pitch is the projection. Hammer the over there. I think he's going to around 140. I know he hasn't been a starter in a long damn time since his days with the Pirates, but I love that pick, and I'm heavily depending on him this year. This is almost, a cop-out pick here, but very predictable pick, but 35.5 home runs. Give me the over on Pete Alonso. I think he's getting back to 40s. I think he's going to have a chip on his shoulder. He had to play in that contract year set up last year, and it's almost like the weight is off of his shoulders, and I think he's going for 40+. So we will see there. Francisco Lindor, over 25.5 stolen bases. He's a 30-30 guy, man. I know he had a screwed-up back last year. I know they're going to try to be careful with him. He might not play that 162 that he tends to do every single friggin' year. But I think he's going over 25.5 stolen bases. I think people are going to be paying too much attention to Juan Soto. I think he's going to get a lot of opportunities for swipes. I think people are terrified of messing around with Soto in the box, and I think it's going to let him run. So I would take that one to the bank. Not even Mets related. I was just looking over some team overs, and the Cleveland Guardians is at 82.5. I mean, just come on, man. That's free money. They always tend to get above that, and I love their pitching staff, and I love the potential there. I love Vogt, a great manager. Just a completely random one, but I was listening to the Talking Baseball guys, and they were on the team projection of the Guardians. I thought 82.5 was free money, so I figured I would help you guys cash a slip. And then, this is a homer pick, but let's just go with Mets over 88.5 wins. I think the offense is so damn strong. I think the bullpen's as good as it's looked in a long, long damn time. And I think the starters are going to be really sneaky for you. So Guys, thank you for tuning into my first episode. Absolutely pumped. So much more to come. And let's get it on.